Let's talk about modest fashion and why you might have been seeing a bit more of it recently. So, the term was coined in the early 2000s to describe the style of those who choose to cover up for personal or religious reasons. It's a huge sector of the fashion industry, estimated to reach $211 billion by next year. France even just hosted its second Modest Fashion Week. So many brands are desperate to try their hand at it, but they don't always hit the nail on the head. During Ramadan and Eid, brands such as Pretty Little Thing, Gucci and Louis Vuitton all started releasing modest clothing collections. And sometimes they just didn't get it right, but more on that later. Now, it's important to remember that dressing modestly can vary in meaning to each person. Some might want to hide their whole body, some might want to just hide their cleavage, and so on.
It means kind of wearing less revealing clothes and having more long sleeves, long pants, especially more baggy clothes and not too much clothes that are like kind of are too tight for me. And I think definitely choosing things that kind of matches with my hijab, because my hijab is a big expression to my whole outfit and to my religion as well, and kind of, you know, make sense of it from my head to my toes. And it varies from one person to another what does dressing modesty really means. But for me, in my opinion, I think it's more having that choice to cover up a little bit more, or having that ability to say, oh, showing a little bit of skin, showing a little bit of my arms more okay than, you know, showing my whole shoulders or my chest. I think it depends on how you define modestly or modesty in terms of clothing and how much you reveal or you don't reveal.
And it can be for a myriad of different reasons too.
I dress modestly mainly because of my religion. I mean, there's a lot to it in terms of religion side, but I dress mainly because of I reflect my religion. Besides religion and comfortability, I think it's cultural aspect as well. Growing up, I've always been taught and I've always been surrounded by people who dress modestly. And even because I come from Malaysia, and even then being exposed to people, I feel like having that choice and having that variety in how I choose to dress or how other people choose to dress, I feel like that plays a big role in how my outfits appear day to day.
Young modest dressers say they want clothes that, yes, are modest, but also clothes that reflect and embody the latest fashion trends. It doesn't all have to be kaftans and abayas. Basically, they're saying, give us what you're designing for everybody else, but just make it modest.
In the summertime, in the summer collection, it's easier in the winter. I feel like there's a lot more options in the high street fashion in terms of like its sweaters and baggy clothing and looser jeans. Once baggy jeans are done, like people are not into that anymore, because like it becomes difficult for us to start finding clothes again.
PLT came under fire recently for its Eid edit. There were a lot of bodycons, mini skirts and low necklines going on. It was described as poorly researched and offensive.
They need a little bit more research in terms of defining what modesty means and because they do call it as Eid collection and rather than a section called modesty. If they have the section called modesty and not tie it to Eid collection, I think that they wouldn't get as much criticism, because like I said, like the word modesty has a lot of definition and like boundaries and limits to different people and different groups of people. But I think if they educate themselves on what Eid Eid type of clothing reflects to us Muslims, they wouldn't be putting in such appearance and clothing pieces such as the miniskirts and the slit dresses and the maxi dresses, because I don't think that's how we will wear that during our celebration Eid. Definitely start by just, you know, talking to the community, talking to the people who dress more modestly and getting more opinions and understanding what does it mean to them to dress modest, and having that variety in their collections like I've mentioned. And I think it's about, you know, adding more fabric into like their styles.
But when brands do get it right, they get it right. Nike's modest sport and swimwear range was a massive hit. Professional athlete Nesreen Dali said that at the time the collection was released, she finally felt seen. So what brands do you think are getting modest fashion right, and what brands would you love to see embrace it?